Hi folks, Grandy here. Thanks for tuning in. I've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube lately showing Trump voters now regretting their vote because of the ill-informed and poorly executed policies of his administration. What I haven't seen though is anyone showing them what they can do to keep from making the same mistakes in the future. I should probably add right now that I'm a U.S. citizen and independent voter, so I feel free to choose the best overall candidate.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
Now, I don't know if these people are real or it's just theater, but I'm going under the assumption that there is enough of them out there to make sharing this information worthwhile. I've been a voter in this country for over 40 years.
You're a feisty old booger, aren't you?
I'm not old. I'm just chronologically advantaged. Anyway, in my youth, I wasn't always as politically aware as I am now. So I've made what I would consider my share of mistakes as far as voting is concerned. However, it's because of all my past decisions that I've been able to come up with a guiding rule that has allowed me to make what I feel to be the best choices for the past 20 years with no regrets. The secret to picking the best presidential candidate every time. The secret is simple enough. When picking a presidential candidate, character is more important than policies.
Is that it?
Yeah, why? What's wrong?
Nothing, I just thought it'd be more complicated than that.
I know it seems obvious to some, yet sadly many people in this country have been led to believe the exact opposite, that character doesn't matter. It has not always been this way. There was a time character mattered a great deal to people.
Being president of this country was to a certain extent about character. And although I've not been willing to engage in his attacks on me, I've been here 3 years and 3 days. And I can tell without hesitation, being president of this country is entirely about character.
Any policies enacted by an administration should serve to raise all votes, not just the votes that voted for them or contributed to their election campaign. A candidate's character dictates when and how policies will be enacted. A quality candidate will enact quality policies. A garbage candidate will enact garbage policies. Therefore, while policies are still important, they are secondary to character.
I think they get the point.
Moving on then, the importance of character over policies can be demonstrated by reviewing Trump's major policy promises and playing a little game I like to call, Are You an Expert On? And keep in mind when I say expert, I mean someone who has studied the topic for decades and has advanced degrees in this subject and other subjects involved with it. Not someone who listened to a pseudo-authority on Fox for 30 minutes and now considers himself an expert. Are you ready?
This ought to be good.
What I will do is list a major campaign promise, post a couple questions for each that an expert would say yes to, then reveal what my answer would be. Policy Promise 1. Closing the border. Question 1. Are you an expert on border security?
No.
Question 2. Are you an expert on the accurate current and historical numbers around illegal border crossings?
I don't know.
Policy Promise 2. Mass deportations. Question 1. Are you an expert on what illegal immigrants do to support our economy?
Negative.
Question 2. Are you an expert on what is involved in mass deporting millions of immigrants?
No way.
Policy Promise 3. DEI Program Elimination. Question 1. Are you an expert on what all of the DEI programs are?
Well, I don't know.
Question 2. Are you an expert on who will be affected if DEI programs are eliminated?
I have no idea.
Policy Promise 4. Elimination of the Department of Education. Question 1. Are you an expert on what the DOE does?
Let me just finish writing this prescription and it'll be all squared away.
This is a prescription for no.
Question 2. Are you an expert on what each state gains from the DOE?
I don't know that!
Policy Promise 5. Lower gas and grocery prices. Question 1. Are you an expert on what the president can and can't do to lower prices?
Oh, no!
Question 2. Are you an expert on all the reasons the prices are so high now?
No!
Policy Promise 6, Roll Back Environmental Regulations. Question 1. Are you an expert on climate change and the scientific evidence gathered to prove it?
Never, not in a million years, absolutely not. No way, Jose, no chance, Lance, yet, negatory, nah, and of course my own personal favorite of all time, man falling off of a cliff. No!
Question 2. Are you an expert on the effects global climate change will have on our planet?
No.
Policy Promise 7, Enact Tariffs. Question 1. Are you an expert on the history of tariffs in our country?
No!
Starting to feel a little pressure.
Question 2. Are you an expert on what effect they have had and will have on our economy?
No, it's not fair.
And finally, Policy Promise 8, Reduce Government Waste. Question 1. Are you an expert on the amount of current government waste? Question 2. Are you an expert on the history of short-term efficiency gains causing long-term efficiency loss?
Uncle! I don't know anything. I never did know anything. But now I know that I don't know.
Well, as you can tell from my answers, I'm no expert on any of these topics.
What?
And I'm sure for most of the people that voted for Trump, the answers would all be the same as well.
You're kidding.
And let me clue you in on a little secret. Trump isn't an expert on any of these things either, though he does think he is an expert on everything, which makes him very reckless and very dangerous.
That goes without saying. Oof.
The only thing Trump is an expert on is bilking people out of their hard-earned money. After all, he's been doing it for all of his adult life. In fact, if the Kennedy Center gave out Lifetime Achievement Awards for grifting people, Trump would have won already. I guess it's a good thing they don't hand out, wait a minute, Trump is now the head of the Kennedy Center. Oh no. Can you imagine the film industry's reaction if he gave himself an award for a lifetime of conning other people? All right, back to the subject. Because most of us aren't experts on any of this, how can we choose at all which policies are the best? A policy may sound good, but is it good for our country? The answer is we can't. You may as well play eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
That's a good point.
What do we do about that?
What we do is look at who that person is first before looking at policies. What most of us are experts in is spotting an honest, decent, strong leader versus a lying, cheating, stealing narcissist. We want someone in that office that represents the best of what it means to be an American. Only after they have demonstrated that they are a person of strong moral character, then we look at their policies and ask, are the policies reasonable? Are they well thought out? Are they addressing what the country needs? Are they addressing what the world needs? And if all of them are, then you have a candidate you and the whole world will look up to with admiration and respect and not fear. You don't have to necessarily agree with or even understand all the policies, but having picked a candidate who is honorable, wise, possesses great leadership skills, and is a true patriot to what the Founding Fathers intended for this country, you can rest assured that they will govern justly for all of us. Hopefully I've given you some things to think about. I will be creating another video showing what character traits I look for in a candidate, and then show both good and bad examples of those traits. I'd like to leave you now with a clip from a movie that I think demonstrates the kind of traits we should look for in a president. Thanks for watching.
And while we're on the subject, I'd like to apologize to the American people. You see, I forgot that I was hired to do a job for you, and that was just a temp job at that. I forgot that I had 250 million people who were paying me to make their lives a little bit better, and I didn't live up to my part of the bargain. You see, I think there are certain things you should expect from your president. I ought to care more about you than I do about me. I ought to care more about what's right than I do about what's popular. I ought to be willing to give up this whole thing for something I believe in.